an hour 20.
That's fine, because I'll probably be hungry and have to pee by then.
It's fine. I'll have a large array of emotions coming up on me about that time.
It's usually when I start getting depressed every night.
Has nothing to do with the bottle of wine that I drink in the hour 20 of this podcast. Gee, I wonder why I'm hungry and I need to pee. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the It's Hockey Night podcast. My name is Brenton, and I'm joined by Mike. How are you, Mike?
Brenton, I'm well. You know, I've noticed ever since we've picked up this season in our own little play-in series, you've given up player names. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's because I lost track of what podcast this was. Like about 5
I
episodes
thought it was just
ago.
because you forgot how to count.
When we came back, maybe we should. All right, next one, I'll figure out what actual podcast we're in, and we'll go back, because I do like comparing you to just complete like NHL bums.
I think we're through the rough patch where it was just like all of the 30s, so it's just every goaltender ever.
I think the best thing about calling you just some fringe IHL player is whenever there was news about him 3 years later, the name would ring a bell. You'd be like, oh, there was that guy. I remember calling Mike that guy.
Yeah, it's just a point of reference for, the next guys to write a book or join the lawsuit against the NHL.
Yeah, there's only 2.
Mike was that guy once on the podcast. Yeah.
Was that guy once? Oh boy. So where do we want to start here? Should we jump? There's so much news. There's actually hockey news. Mike,
What the people want to hear most, Brenton. CBA Talk.
CBA Talk. CBA Watch.
Let's talk about escrow for 25 minutes.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it. Let's quickly jump up there. I mean, most people would be pretty up to date with everything, but at least we've got return to play all signed up, and CBA till 2026. So the words Labour Peace keep getting thrown out there. What are your thoughts, my friend?
It's great. This is what we talked about. I mean, this was like a feature for years, ever since we started this thing, and basically since the last lockout was just like, okay, we're just counting down towards the next one, and to actually extend this current CBA is, well, I mean, in essence, they extended the current CBA because, as we'll talk about, it's not much different, but yeah, it's cool. It's like, oh, I mean, if everyone survives, which, I'm in America right now, and it's not looking good. We're all dumb and selfish.
70,000 cases a day now.
Right, but if we do come out the other side, we'll have hockey for a couple more years. So
that's good. Yeah, I mean it's very much a placeholder, kick the can down the road CBA, but not kick the can down the road as in the last few CBAs of like, oh, we'll deal with this later, and then there'll be a massive work stoppage. Right. It's kind of like, yeah, we don't know what the next 3 years are going to look like, so let's do this when we have a real good idea of how much this is going to affect things.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is that, obviously the Olympics are back, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Granting, there's still like a little clause in there, like granting the IOC gives the NHL what it wants, which I think it will, because they realized from the last Olympics that like no one really gave a shit about Latvia's top line, their captain or whatever, that just had his leg amputated, but he was still out there or whatever because they couldn't find anyone else.
Could you even tell me what the final was? The gold medal game.
I can tell you that American women won the gold. That's what matters. But the men's side was just an absolute who gives a fuck.
Was that the
Russia won, right? No.
Yeah, Russia won. Who did they beat?
Okay. Woof. Oh my god, my home. That's right. Tom Kuhnhackels.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. There was a Pittsburgh Penguin on the lineup.
Yeah, no, poor Germany, man. They were so close.
Yep.
What that would have done for German hockey.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of like, I think in that next tier below, like I think it's elevated itself now into right below the the Russia, Canada, kind of America, that tier. It's like the next tier down is your well, like Sweden and Finland are probably below that, and then below that tier is like
Yeah.
your Latvia and teams like that. But I think Germany's up there now. They seem to be like
Slowly getting.
cranking out a few NHL players, and we'll see what happens with Moritz Seider, who like I've had several Red Wings fans just uh, come at me for shit I've said like 2 years ago now about the Red Wings drafting him at what, sixth overall or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it doesn't look so bad now, does it, poser? Jesus.
Poster punk. Why are you singling me out?
Yeah, man. Like everybody said that was dumb. Whatever. Fine. He looks fine. Who knows? He's like 12.
So with Batman and Fear being like 1,000 years old, I think Fear's 70 and Batman's 68. Oh, that was a massive bang outside.
A what?
A massive bang.
A massive
A bang.
bang?
Yeah, like a bang. Like something big was dropped. Anyway.
Oh.
The ADHD just saw the color red.
You were
and I was
describing a
like,
noise. I thought this was like another Australian thing that we were gonna have to work through.
no.
Like what's a bang?
What's a bang? Or it's a deadly lizard.
That I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah,
Like,
of
that
course it's
sounds
deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, with I think Fear's 70 years old and Batman's 68. It's either that or the other way around. Is this their last CBA?
Maybe for fair. I think the players union will get sick of him eventually. They'll blame escrow on him.
Oh yeah.
This next round will be so sick of it. They'll want to get a guy in there that's like younger and can still see or whatever to fight for no cap or something. Like I don't know.
Panarin was in his driveway when they signed that deal. Like, where is my $6 million that is just disappearing next year?
Just at his mailbox, like
yeah, where is my money? I'm used to KHL, where just a brown paper bag fixes everything. If you're a good player, if you're a poor player, then well, you may not get paid. That's up to you. Is there anything else that sort of stood out with the CBA for you that you wanted to run through before we hit up other newses?
Yeah, I mean, like, all you need to know about escrow, because this is all I've been told, is that I haven't like looked into that side of it because it's boring and it's dumb, and I was really bad at math. Is that the players? It's slightly better for the players, and they're fine with it. It's still like like the last CBA. I think everyone kind of felt in the hockey sphere that the players got screwed.
Yeah.
This one's not too much better, so like we'll see where we're at in 2026.
It's where it's at the moment, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, clearly everyone's gonna have to take a hit here. Like, that's the otherwise teams are gonna start folding.
Right. And with now part of the kind of financial status of the league built into the CBA is that it sounds like it's gonna be basically a flat cap for the next 2-3 years.
81.5 million until they get to 4.8 billion in revenue, which I don't know if you know, that's a bit of money.
That's a bit of money for sure. No compliance buyouts,
no,
which is surprising. So teams are going to have to use that hard buyout on some guys. There are softer penalties.
Yeah,
I think now for the 35 and up contracts, and then teams are just going to have to suck it up and probably do it.
Half the teams right now are up against the cap.
Yeah.
What do you think what do you think the mighty Penguins do? And then we'll get to their training camp and we've got a whole mess of other things. The Devils hiring a bunch of people. We've got opt-outs. We've got injury stuff. So still lots to come. But yeah, what do you think the Penguins are going to do?
I think what they should do and what they will do might, for the first time, in my brain, be intersecting here, and that's just say bye Jack. There's 3.5 mil coming off your books. They've already got some more money coming off at the end of the season. Justin Schultz isn't getting a contract.
Yeah.
They just need to buy him out and just be done with it. He's going to be a bottom pair defenseman. It's going to be tough to pay it.
UFA at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna let him walk. That's what I mean, and just say, cut bait, buy out Johnson. I think it's after this year it would only be, I don't know, less than $1 million for the next like 2 years or so. Next 3-4 years. I can't remember, what the math is on that, but
Yeah.
it's better than paying a guy who's going to play 10 minutes a night next year, almost $4 million. So,
Definitely,
peace.
yeah. Plus, you got Marino that's sort of stepped into that role that Schultz was a few years ago, right? Like he's that second.
Yeah, and you have Ricola, who they won't use to replace Johnson. They'll probably go on the market and find a cheap bottom six guy, or maybe P.O. Joseph is ready for that role.
Because you've got Pedersen's contract kicking in, so yeah, they definitely need to get rid of Schultz or Jack Johnson just to stay above it all. What about? Do you think? I was looking at who they could trade without a buyout. I'm not let's just package Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin for Max Domi and be on with it.
And there you go. You're under the cap.
Yeah, you're under the cap. Perfect. I was thinking a player that, the return's not going to be super great, but in the stance that it is right now, I don't think it's going to affect the team too much. What do you think, Nick Bjugstad, moving him? I think there's value there. You're not going to get the.
Well, I mean, that would almost be at this point a complete cap dump with his health. I think. I don't know that he has much value out there.
But I'm for a team that has cap, that's a player that, I wouldn't fully give up on him.
Yeah, no, I mean, a team like Montreal maybe that he could maybe fill in as a second line center so they could develop some of their younger guys.
Perfect.
What a 4th, 5th round pick, whatever. Yeah. Why not? If you have the cap room.
A lot of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one that I was looking at, of what's a realistic move that they could do. I'm not obviously saying Jack Johnson to Toronto for a first.
Yeah. I think they will try to trade Jack first, just because they hate the buyout so much.
Yeah.
And especially PR wise, that would look really bad after 3 years of him standing at the podium yelling at reporters and fans for being too mean to Jack Johnson. So I think they're going to try everything under the sun. Maybe that's something they do is Bjugstad and Johnson to somewhere with a shit ton of cap space. It's rebuilding for a 6th round pick, and they just kind of move some picks around to make it look better.
Sort it out, yeah.
Yeah, they're just going to, lose on value in that deal, but it's just to get rid of those contracts.
And do you think now, obviously, with it, there's a lot of chatter and Matt Murray won't be a Penguin at the end of the season. By chatter, I mean just a bunch of internet people just be like, I think Matt Murray will be.
I heard that there was a fan in Eaton Park that was really mean to Matt Murray, and he asked for an autograph, and he said that Marc-Andre Fleury was better, and Matt Murray cried right there. I heard that. It was true.
Yeah, I don't believe, there's been so much dumb shit on the interwebs.
The one I see often with him is that apparently he doesn't have a very good-looking girlfriend, and it just reminds me of Moneyball, that Moneyball thing where he's low on confidence if he's got an ugly girlfriend. And then I saw a picture of her and I was like,
she's as beautiful as the rest. They all
and I was just like, what the hell are they on about? Yeah, because I do like Matt Murray, but I am not saying he's a good-looking dude.
No, it was perfect, the Jimmy Fallon superlatives thing where they said he looked like a French cartoon villain.
Yeah, he really does.
Look, he's one of those guys that's gotten much better looking with age too. He's kind of filled out a little bit. He's not he's not a pencil with arms anymore.
Right. That's true. Plus, when you see pictures of yourself at age 22, you're just like, oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, none of us were exactly at our best at that point in time in our lives, okay?
I'm 33 and I'm still not at my best. Still a long way to go.
Right. I just turned 34, but that's where I'm hoping someday.
I'm actually 32. I'm turning 33, so I'll just keep that up there just to make so the viewers know that you are much, much older.
Fucking millennial.
Yeah, pretty much.
What you can't see in the video is that Brenton's actually's got avocado toast everywhere in that room.
I'm TikToking this entire podcast.
Your hipster hat that you're wearing.
My hipster beanie. It's because it's winter here, man. It's cold.
Oh, it's like 50 degrees.
It's not 50. Oh, it probably
I
is in
keep
Europe.
Canberra on my phone just to like look at the temperature sometimes if you complain about it. Let's see. Where are we at today? Canberra. It is 42. Okay, that's kind of cold,
And
but
it's
like
raining.
not
You know
freezing.
those
Yes.
days that it where it just gets to, that freezing level, but because it rains all day, it does not warm up at all. Like it just goes bleh.
Yeah.
That's what it's been like here for the last like 2 days. Like it's just been that real cold rain and
Well, it
everything.
looks like it's going to be all sun for the next week and like in the 50s. That's beautiful.
It's still coldish.
That's hockey
It's a
weather here.
small wind. There's a small wind that comes in. I don't like it.
It's delicate.
So, do you think I'll ask you which one you'll get rid of next, but so you got a bit of time to think about it. But do you think Matt Murray and Tristan Jarry are on this team next year?
Yeah, I think that they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are. Yeah, I'm going to go with yes.
Yes. Okay. Without seeing what's going to happen in this play-in and playoffs, because I think that might tell a bit more of a story and fill a gap of there if you had to get rid of one. Rutherford has gone, look, I'm not even going to GM now because of this COVID thing. He's by the way not going to the games.
Yes.
I think he's the first GM to say that he's not going. I couldn't find any others that wouldn't. Which one are you getting rid of?
Ooh. Man. If I'm the GM, I'm probably sticking with Muzz.
Really?
Dance with the one that brung you there. I don't know that I trust Tristan Jarry's track record enough to like leave the tail end of Sid and Gino's career to him in net solely. Like again, like the playoffs could change that. So
Yeah.
I think we'll see. Like, and if Jarry does steal the show again, then maybe the writing's on the wall, and they can blame financial reasons for why they had to trade Murray and kind of skate everything else that's been said this summer. So yeah, but if it were up to me, I would keep Murray and trade Jarry because I think Jarry's probably got I don't know. It's tough to gauge who you think has a better trade value because Jarry had the phenomenal rookie season.
I think Jarry does.
But so did Murray, and he won 2 Stanley Cups, and that how much that plays.
Yeah.
So
Jarry is that one that if you... Oh, by the way, incorrect answer. The correct answer is keep Casey DeSmith.
Trade both Jarry and Murray. Just have Casey DeSmith. He'll stop every puck.
Everything.
Just ask Dan Kingerski.
If you trade away Jarry, one of two things will happen. Either he will not be in the league in 3 years, or he'll win the Vezina. He'll have a season where he'll almost win the Vezina. And it'll be like,
that sounds about right.
We regret that, or, oh, look at that, we got that, for nothing.
Yeah.
So
isn't that like the modern goalie though? I mean, look at Connor Hellebuck. Look at Carey Price. Like Carey Price is obviously a bit older than both Hellebuck and Murray, but it just seems like everyone is on that Mike Smith shit where it's just like off year, good year, off year, good year. I mean, of course, Murray's kind of had like 2 like weird half and half seasons back to back where it's kind of been good and bad, but it just seems like there really is no such thing as a consistent goalie anymore, which is bad for goalies, but I think good for the sport because that just usually means that shooters are kind of figuring goalies out, and like the giant pads aren't doing it anymore. Like scoring's up a tad, but it's more concentrated on the kind of like the heavy or the loaded teams like your Tampas and such. So, it's a weird mathematical issue, but I don't mind the fact that, like, there's no more Marty Brodeurs in the league. Like, nobody pays to go watch a goalie make 30 saves in a boring 2-1 game.
Welcome to that weird trap that they had.
Yeah.
The Devils. No, it does make sense. So training camps, the roster for the Penguins has been announced.
It has. Not too many surprises on there.
Trotman's not going because he said but then again, I mean, I don't think he was going to really make this team anyway. But yeah, he said he's out.
Yeah, I think he has some sort of asthma issue. Like Rutherford he played coy on it and said that he had like some sort of injury that he was working through. It's whatever, you know.
Upper body
Cares?
respiratory,
Right?
undisclosed
Yeah.
respiratory.
And then the other two are obvious that we know is that Dom Simon and Nick Bukestad aren't going because they're dead or whatever. They might as well Bukestad might as well have been dead this whole year.
Yeah, pretty much.
I keep forgetting he's on the team.
Apparently, yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, we're not going to miss him if we trade him. I don't remember the last time he played. Oh, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to see these guys in action.
Yeah, I mean, like inside I'm screaming because could go really really bad, but at the
There's
same
going to
time
be,
like it's really depressing here, so can use a little sports.
yeah. Well, it makes all the difference. Like the fact that we got football here just to have something on. Because we've got another spike in Victoria, and now it's starting to leach into the other states, and you're like, oh god, here we go again. We're going to be locked down again. So sports really does help in the fact of just like, oh, there's something to do, and there's going to be a lot of games on, man. A lot of games.
That's the best part. Is like I'm not gonna do shit for just the entire month of August because it's what is it,
Oh.
6 games a day or something?
Yeah, some days only have two. Like I don't get that.
Well, I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
either way, the NHL finally figured out how to stagger games. I don't know why it took them like to a global pandemic for them to figure out that like you don't start games at the same time.
oh,
You
this
start
is
them 15 minutes in increments, so it's just like back to back, or you start them to like where you can when intermission hits, you can turn on another game. Boom,
yep. What do
and
you
that's what
think?
it's gonna be.
What do you think about? And we'll get back to the camp roster if there's anything to talk about. But what do you think about the? So, do you know how the games are working in regards to what games are when?
As far as like the official dates of like
No,
start or
like so the play-in rounds are going to be the first two games, and the last game will be that weird round robin tournament most of the time.
yeah.
What do you think about that? Because that means so the round robin tournament doesn't have continuous overtime, so it has a shootout. So like you have a hard end date. My thought would be to put that first because then you don't have a potential for two games to be delayed because like all it needs is that 9 a.m. game to go into double overtime that delays the next one, and then that one goes into overtime, and then all of a sudden this round robin game that means nothing is starting at like 11 p.m.
I mean, yeah, that's like, yeah, it just seems like they left a lot to chance there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, fuck all those teams. So
Yeah.
that's the other half of my brain is like, well, who cares?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess it's not the biggest thing in the world. I just think it's gonna be weird that like I guess yeah, maybe the game that you don't care about is the one that's on at 2 a.m, or potentially instead of a 5 overtime barn burner, which would be prime time. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. If a game goes to like 5 overtime, it could be at like 8 in the evening, like absolute prime time, just an absolute barn burner. That's so good. Oh, I'm so happy for that. All right, now I recant. Take back what I said.
It's all good. It's all good. Even the bad that can come out of this, it's like it just so far outweighs, the
Oh,
good just outweighs the bad for sure.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I mean, it leaves it open to there's going to be some upset because some goalie's going to go hot. I kind
There's
of
just
hope.
going to be a lot of weirdness in this thing, I think.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what is the hockey going to be like for these guys who haven't? This is the longest off season I think most of them get. Like,
yeah.
you know.
It's going to be. You're going to find out very quickly who's been working out and who hasn't.
Yeah.
Like I looked at not to fat shame him, but I looked at Phil Kessel's Instagram the other day, and that is a dude that has not worked out.
Well,
Like,
like Phil doesn't work out in general, so he's probably going to be even better. This is like Phil's gotten even more time on Call of Duty. Like he's ready to go.
he is the general body of a mascot right now. It's just very bottom heavy. Yeah, like yeah, that's something that I'm just a bit worried about. But yeah. So obviously the Penguins, yeah, the training camp's out. Yeah, you're right. There's no real surprises in here, is there? I mean, they're taking
Other than
goalies.
Phil Verone, because I don't remember who the hell that is. That
Uh,
was the only name where I was just like, oh, that seems like a guy I'm sure that was in Wilkes-Barre. He's got
so
44.
he, wow, this has blown my brain. So on the thing that I found with the training camp roster, there is a category that says how acquired. It has every single player on how they're acquired except for
Well, that's
Philip
interesting.
Verone.
Yeah, I think he was signed like halfway through the year, which I thought made him. And I don't think he was eligible. I'm sure I don't know, they probably did something in the CBA with the eligibility requirements.
Or maybe he
Um,
can just come along to this thing and can't play.
well, like everybody that's on, like that these teams are bringing are eligible to play. This is essentially just a training camp, you know.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go from there. I mean, like we kind of know how this is going to go, barring any major injuries. But it's exciting to see both Jason Zucker and Jake Gensel on the same roster. That was like that was I think the major takeaway. You know, at
He
least we said no surprises. Otherwise,
he signed a contract with the Montreal Canadiens this year. Did we trade with them?
uh, yeah, it was a minor league swap. I can't remember who the Penguins traded, but it was like halfway through the year they traded like Guy A
Yeah, for Guy,
for
because yeah,
Phil
you're
for
right. Like that,
basically Guy B Philip Verone.
I definitely know all of those except for that. And then yeah, so Casey Smith's going, Diorio's going, and then I don't know who this other goal is. Lamy, this goalie.
Everyone's favorite Finnish goaltender, Emil Larmi. Oh my god, you go follow him on Twitter. He's fantastic.
Oh, all right, I'll do that. I like Diorio because I just remember him signing his contract looking like he's 12, and there's just Rutherford just standing over him taking advantage.
That hasn't changed much. Nice to see that P.O. Joseph again mention him wearing Jack Johnson's old number. It's almost like they're just like baiting him at this point. It's just like, oh, he's got your old number. He's coming for your new one.
He's
Ooh.
covered.
You
He's
better stop sucking so much, Jack. Yeah, by all intents and purposes, I guess he had a pretty good year in Wilkes-Barre. They were really happy with his development.
mm.
So maybe the Phil Kessel trade will bear fruit at some points.
Yeah. I think the other good thing about this is that I mean, not that it's an issue that players opt out. I completely understand, especially if there's health concerns or if they just don't want to. Like, I completely understand with this climate. But at least for the Penguins' sake, we know that this is the team. There's no weird opt outs. There's nothing.
Yeah, and
Um,
I mean we have to acknowledge the thing that uh, I guess Sid has been texting everyone on the team to go and do voluntary workouts with
yeah,
him
with
on the
watermelon.
ice, and then Gino also has been I guess telling everyone that you can't waste the playoff opportunity, and that in and of itself doesn't really say much. But I think a lot of people are kind of reading between the lines and thinking that those two guys are almost pressuring everyone else on the team to not opt out.
Yep, a
Which
little
if
bit.
that's the case, that's kind of fucked up. But with limited information, it's kind of hard to say. So
There's a
with just that being said, we should mention it. That's all.
there's a fine line between you hope it's the motivational side of things. Like it's not like if there's health concerns or there's things like that, then definitely stay at home, do that. And you hope it's like the whole, if you've just been at home sort of looking at a wall for the last 4 months, it's just trying to get that motivation going and those juices going. In which case I don't think that's an issue. And hopefully it's more that side than you will play. This is my last chance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, another notable thing, speaking of the old guys, Sam Poulin, that was like the big story, was that like he was getting invited. He had a phenomenal season with in the QMJHL. I can't remember his team, but yeah, he was their captain. He got named captain halfway through the year, and he led the team in points. He was just like en fuego all year. He's really the first real like exciting. I don't know if he's quite blue chip prospect, but like he's the closest thing
Up there.
to a blue chip prospect the Penguins have had in a long, long time.
Well, that was like our first round pick, like first round pick in a long, long time.
Yeah, well, since Daniel Sprong.
Yeah.
You know,
How did that work? I
again,
didn't see him on this list.
yeah, it's weird. He's not on here. Poor Sprong. I hope he gets a chance somewhere. Like the kid's got talent to at least be. Maybe you can mold him into a
Yeah.
a middle six kind of guy. Who knows? I don't know. R.I.P. Daniel Sprong. But with Sprong, there were always detractors to his game. Like no matter what, they would talk about his amazing skill sets, and they'd be like, but with Poland, there really doesn't seem to be a drawback to his game.
No.
Like the kid's gonna make a show. It's up to him where he fits in the NHL. I think.
No, definitely. Oh, I think there's a video there for the channel about that guy. I think there's somewhere in that. For YouTube, by the way, I'm doing a preview of every one of these stupid games, these stupid series. But obviously, I need to wait for the rosters to come out. Speaking of rosters, the Montreal Canadiens has been unable to do their roster, or let us know, because in the next 7 to 10 days, they're waiting for Max Domi to figure things out.
Well, he should be all ready to go now. Now that his boy Trump put on a mask, he'll be rearing and ready to go out there, and he's going to be all fired up. Look how good my president #my president looks in a mask. He's finally done it, folks. He's fixed COVID and racism all at once, and we're going to be ready. Max Domi's going to be ready to go August 1st, and he'll be just as impactful as he was during the regular season, which was not at all.
That's the thing. There hasn't been, with all of these opt-outs. Like I'll read out the list of names that have opted out: Sven Barchi, Roman Polak, Mike Green, Stephen Kempfer, Carl Osner, Trotman, and then there's Travis Hamonic. But like, there's a lot of, like, when I did a video on it yesterday, and like the one thing I was going through was like, he appeared in 6 games in the NHL. He appeared in 3 games in the NHL, yeah. And you're just like, well, it makes sense. Like, especially if you have an underlying health issue, or if you just don't want to. There's no point in going to this thing if you're not going to get a game.
Yeah. Yep. Why risk your family's health and your health? And like for most of those guys, they're also like in that age bracket where like they're most susceptible to COVID, like Green and Alsner, who have both had many health issues on their own. Probably a good idea to sit this one out.
Yeah, and I don't think, and either way, it doesn't really affect their team very much. Like they'll, especially Alsner. Alsner's like played in the AHL for the last 2 seasons. Like that contract is. Oof.
Yeah, kind of feel bad for that guy, but he signed it.
Yeah. He definitely signed it. Is there any other series that you're a bit interested in? That's coming up that you're gonna.
I mean, at this point, like I feel like like my heart is ready, like my body is ready for hockey. Like so, like I would watch the Minnesota Wild against the Ottawa Senators for like a week straight if that's what you were giving me. If it was live, like I'd be all over it. Yeah. So I think I probably need some time to just like look at all these series and like the Calgary Winnipeg one is, I think, really intriguing just from like an outside perspective. I think that one's kind of the most evenly matched of all these series. And then I'll be curious to see like what do any of the teams in the round robin truly give a shit about seeding, because it doesn't really seem like it's going to matter much.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I
they're
feel
just kind of like preseason game. They're just gonna be like, to get the rust off. That'll be how they treat them, I imagine.
That's what I think, like exhibition preseason games.
Mm.
You mentioned this before we started. I still can't find anything on it, but apparently our viewing experience is going to be altered because there's no crowds.
Yes. So the tweets were aflutter just before we started the podcast about Gary Bettman's plan to essentially put a Band-Aid over the fact that there's going to be no atmosphere in the arena because there's no fans or no one in general. So he's like, I guess individual teams. I saw the New York Rangers were sending out a thing to like season ticket holders and fans to like submit videos of themselves cheering, "Let's go Rangers! Let's go Rangers!" for like 5 minutes straight.
Oh.
And like they would have like a list. It was like bullet points. Like also do like bread man. Oh, it's just so painful. There's gonna be all these like, drunk dads trying to figure out their laptops. Just, hey, how do you work this thing here? I gotta cheer for Henrik Lundqvist and send it to the Rangers. They need my help right now.
Yep.
Gotta love these NHL call to actions.
That was a good accent. That was pretty good. I didn't expect that. Yeah, so the AFL here, so the first round, and then so they played one round and then they stopped for about 6 weeks and then they started up again and we've had it since. The first round they had no noise at all. And it was the most surreal, weirdest thing that you've ever watched. Like it was just so odd. Like you could just hear anything. Like you just hear like the coach, like some, offensive coach from the sideline yell out something. And he could just yell it across the park. Like it was kind of like just a club game from when you were 16 years old. Like that's the way it was. So then the second round, what they did is they just piped in crowd noises, but it wasn't cheering and it wasn't booing. It was just noise, just the whole time.
Just like white noise.
Yeah, that was kind of it.
Like ASMR, hockey ASMR.
Kind of, yeah. And it's just like people just like, blah, blah, blah. Every now and then they hear the word like meat pie or hot dog or get me a beer. But like
crowd
it
noise.
was
like
just
generic crowd noise.
Yeah, but it was really good. I recommend that. The second you go with this like fake cheering and everything like that, it is so dumb because they've tried that in other rounds and it is so dumb. They also have this.
I think the NHL's gonna like put it on the jumbotron too. Like that's their idea, is to like have like video messages from the fans.
So what they have also is they have 9 like super fans or members of the team, or season ticket holders would be the equivalent in hockey. And they have 9 of them, and they have a live stream video into their house. So when they score, they cut to 9 of them just like on their couch. But that's just for the TV. Like that doesn't go on the Titantron.
Well, yeah, I'm sure a lot of this will be used by NHL, NBC, and whatever the hell it is now, NBC Sports Network. Catherine Tappan will cut to like some video of like this family from Yonkers with their Islanders gear on. Cool, thanks.
Just some dude not. The best is there's always one fan every round that is like 12 beers in that like misses a goal because he's on his phone.
Yeah, there's just the one guy with his head down. Like, his whole family's freaking out. He's like, "What the hell?"
He's just on Tinder, just swiping.
Yeah. What else is there to do during COVID? You know what I mean?
Not much. Might as well get rejected by the entire city in one foul swoop. What Tinder does. Yeah, like so that's what I recommend. I recommend just have the ambient noise, don't have the cheering, and it does it is because it is surreal when it is quiet, man. It is so surreal.
Well, we know Nashville's real good at pumping in that noise. Ow. Ew.
Just be like, can we start with the Florida Panther jokes? Like, these games with no crowds, it's gonna be like watching a Florida Panther game.
Oh yeah, it's really cool and original. Well, that's hockey fans for you,
Yeah, can we stop?
They do the same thing with the Coyotes and shit too. It's
real
dumb.
If the Coyotes get through, I reckon there's like a full, like that's going to be my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. If like the doctors start banning the players that are, because the doctor can have a say whether you go or not. So if the doctor starts banning players that are like the opponents of the Arizona Coyotes.
I don't know, man. Like, you remember how good the Yotes were for most of this year, really. Like, and then they brought up.
They dined out on goaltending, man. They cannot score.
Yeah, I mean, well, until Taylor Hall got there. That first line with him and Kessel was really good down the stretch.
That first overall pick thing is like, yeah, you're sucking now because we must get first overall. That's the team that's winning it. Like, there's no way they're not winning it.
That'd be great for them. But I don't know. There's no way. It's going to be somebody obnoxious like Chicago or Pittsburgh.
Oh, like, it'd be so good if it's Pittsburgh.
That's just how the NHL works. Like,
yeah,
like fires. Like, we'll burn down every city. Just it's fine. You know how this is going. That's where this is headed.
There's a few terrible teams that, like, if they like Toronto's another one, or the Oilers, like the Penguins, Chicago. It's just like, come on, if either of those four win it.
Yeah, but I mean, like Kemper and Ranta were really good for Arizona, and like enough that like they've had enough sample sizes in the NHL where it's like, yeah, these are good goaltenders. Like, this isn't magic beans. And then you add a Taylor Hall to your team, then you add the kid that they picked in the first round last year, the center, who was really good down the stretch. He was like almost at a point per game right before the shutdown.
Why am I blanking on this?
He's big but very small child. Yeah, him.
Not Keller. No,
not Keller. Keller was invisible this year. But if you get a better Clayton Keller, then like maybe you have two lines instead of just one.
Hayden?
And who are they playing?
Hayden? Is that who you
Barrett Hayden. Yeah. Barrett Hayden. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think Garland was the other one. That was the other one that they got recently. But I can't remember what round he even went. But yeah, I mean, their goalies have just been healthy, man. Like, Rance has been a good goalie for a long time, but he just gets injured all the time.
Yeah. He's just out, and he gets these long stretches where he's just like out for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's completely out. Plus, they have Marian Hossa on the lineup.
Right, and Datsuk. Don't forget about Pavel. Magic.
No, I think he came off the books this year. Yeah, I think he came off the books this year, so they replaced it with another old fart.
That's good. Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Yep.
First ballot Hall of Famer Marian Hossa.
Oh yeah. Which I wonder. I wonder. I should really look to see if there's like another first ballot Hall of Famer that hasn't won a player award. Because I don't think there's many of them.
I'm sure there is. It's the NHL.
Well, it's just that you think of the first ballots, like especially recently, like they're pretty good players. And going from there. Plus, Lawson Krause is another player that I whenever I caught an Arizona game, he kind of did something.
Kind of did something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know? No, they have guys on their team. Like, a lot of people in the analytics community really like Connor Garland, and I think he's a good little player. Like, they've got guys. They just can never seem to get it together and get the offensive machine going. But because they're mostly are just kind of nice players. Like, they Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel are like probably the two of the best players that they've ever had. Two of the best forwards they've ever had, and that's pretty sad, you know.
Yeah, I don't think that they're getting through. I think they're just done.
Well, who are they playing, Brendan? Who are they playing?
They are playing. Is it Predators that they're playing?
No.
No.
Or is it? It's them or Minnesota. We haven't looked at. We're gonna do our.
No, it's the Predators. It's definitely the Predators.
You're right. It's the Predators. Yeah, I mean, like what? Like, I mean, let's save the predictions, but
yeah, that's next.
Like, are the Predators much better?
They started getting it together towards.
Do they have better goaltending?
Ooh, that's it.
Do they have better offense? Maybe.
Because a goalie can steal this 5-gamer. Like, a goalie can steal this thing.
Right, and like, is there a team? Like, who are the teams that would be easiest for your goalie to steal against? You know, who has the least amount of
Team
firepower?
that can't score, like Arizona Coyotes.
Right. Arizona, Montreal, Minnesota. Yeah, like.
I really think the Canucks will get through their series against Minnesota, because I reckon just one good game from Minnesota and they'll roll through, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't know who Minnesota is anymore, so like.
Got one of their jerseys the other day, which is like a cardinal sin thing.
Oh yeah, can you talk about that? Because you sent that to me and it was like the most. You've sent me a lot of confusing messages over the years, but this was like, really?
Yeah, like it was really weird. So I got a gift package from someone. I was going to mention at the end of the podcast. If whoever you are, like, please let me know who you are, because there was no note on this thing, and it came to the PO box that I put onto the. I keep meaning to put it in all the descriptions of the videos, but I probably put it in about 3 or 4, and they do not get a lot of views, these videos. And I was just like, what the hell's at this thing? And so I got there, and there was 3 jerseys and a bunch of figurines. Not the Minnesota Wild jersey, I got that separately. But yeah, there was like 3 jerseys and a bunch of figurines. So I would like to give you a shout out, because it was very nice. Yeah. I still think you sent it to me.
I didn't send it to you. Why would I send you? I would never send you free stuff.
Because you knew that this would drive me insane.
No, you don't need any more goddamn jerseys, and clearly, like, neither do I. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm trying to get all 31 teams now, and I've got 12 teams now.
So. What were the figurines? Were they like Hulk Hogan? Were they like hockey relevant? Like, what's the?
Oh, yeah, they were. Yeah, it was Mike Fisher, Andrew Ladd.
They make a Mike Fisher action figure?
Ottawa Senators Mike Fisher, by the way.
Wow. Okay.
So that's pretty good. And then still in packaging, and they only made like 300 of this. There's a Henrik Lundqvist one from the Stadium series. And it looks pretty mint.
Why not? Why you? Why not me? I'll put my address up.
PO box. Well, I put the PO box. I don't want like. Oh. If this has taught me anything, it's PO box and PO box only, because there's no note attached to this.
Yeah.
And it came in the weirdest brown box. Like, I was just like, this is just odd.
It was. I swear to God, it was not me. Because I would add some like clues to let you know if I was going to try and do that to you. I would put like some very, very Yinzer specific, like a tiny little parking chair ornament or something in there for you.
Yeah.
Like this.
Just to watch me go insane.
Yeah. Or more than likely, I would send you something and just fill it with glitter.
Yeah, and then it just explodes in my face.
Right. Yeah.
Joy.
You're like, oh, Mike, I got a package from you. Make sure that you unbox it on YouTube. You know, just do a Facebook Live.
Do you know what my brother has
done? So I can have this later.
Do you know what my brother has done a bunch of times? He'll buy half a watermelon and he'll bag it and he'll put it in a box and he'll post it to me when he knows I'm away. So I have to go down to the post office, and then I open it up, and it's just half a watermelon. That has been in a box for a week. That you can't even use.
Great. That's pretty great.
So dumb. So dumb. He's been doing that for like 10 years now. Just every now and then he'll do it. So yeah, he's gotten more sneaky, but because he knows if I go away and I see a package, I'm like, yeah, I definitely know it's that. So he's gotten.
This is a fucking watermelon, half of a watermelon.
Yeah, so he's gotten pretty sneaky with it. Yeah. So, but yeah, the jerseys were pretty crazy. Like one of them was a Devil's Kovalchuk jersey, like mint, like complete, like official jersey, never been worn, just completely mint.
I know we've gone over this before, but like I think the Devils black and red, not the green stupid Christmas jerseys that everybody loves.
I love the Christmas jersey.
The black and red are the best.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I love them for their simplicity. Like with the black shoulder yokes, the ones that they wore when probably the Kovalchuk jersey that you have, those ones, they're like, those are just like, those are peak NHL jerseys. I think it's like that deep red. The black.
Yeah.
It's real
this
simple.
One's the away one, so it's not as good, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then It's a Sagan Boston Bruins jersey, and I can't remember what this other one was. I clearly haven't worn it, but yeah.
Stanley Cup winner, Tyler Seguin.
Yes, it was very nice. So if you are around, like, please let me know, because that was pretty unreal.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I mean, it's not awesome that you sent it to Brenton, but
Yeah,
awesome nonetheless.
yeah, but it had no note or anything. It wasn't like this is for us or anything like that. Like, so I don't know if I meant to like onset the Mike Fisher figurine to you or the Andrew Ladd.
That's fine. You keep it. That's good. I'm good over here.
But it's good about the jersey. So yeah, so obviously with YouTube and stuff, I've been cranking out a lot more videos there. So yeah, and I'm just trying to get all the jerseys so I can wear that when news breaks. But yeah. By the way, did you hear Brock Besser might be opting out? Like, there's a bit of news about that.
No, I haven't seen that. Why would he be opt? Yeah, why would he opt out? Just to save his
Just
hair?
enough people have mentioned it online. So I can't find like a reputable source, but there's enough people that are like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning if like enough idiots mention it.
Yeah, like that's.
I try not to on Twitter this week. Like no one gives a shit.
Like this is general like Reddit and HF board stuff. But yeah, so
yeah.
I mean, we'll find out.
Well, we'll find out. I think. I thought originally I thought their list had to be in tomorrow, but I guess they extended it a bit. And according to Jim Rutherford, they can switch people out in the bubble once they even get to the bubble, which is news to me. I kind of thought like once you're in the bubble, that's all you get. Like, you can't have any more people.
You can't.
But he said that they might change things once they get to the bubble, which was maybe it was just, I don't know, he might have been mistaken. He's old, it happens.
Yeah. Well, he said he's definitely not going for at least the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's what it was in reference to. Like they can change up. Maybe it's just personnel, but
I think you can add
still
personnel.
Kind of seems like a bad idea.
I think you can add personnel, but I'm pretty sure they have to quarantine before they get there.
Yeah.
No, like when they get there, they have to quarantine for a bit.
Yeah.
I think they have to have 2 negative tests or something before they can rejoin or join the bubble, which makes sense. Hey, what do you think would happen if? So this wasn't really extended. It kept me up last night. What would happen if a head coach didn't want to go?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. That's something that like Wyshynski's brought up a lot. Is that like these older, the coaches are a lot of these coaches are in their 60s and like early 70s. Even like think about like Jacques Martin. I mean the guy's almost 80 years old.
Yeah,
he's gonna go to this thing,
and they didn't get a vote. Like they were the one group that didn't get a vote in all this.
Yeah, like there is no coaches union, right?
No, it's just whatever.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of guys. They're free. They're independent.
They're on pretty good wickets, so I don't think they need.
Well, once you're in the circle, sure, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't. I imagine it's just like up to the team what they do with that.
Yeah, I wonder if it's an option or if it's just like, nah, you'll go.
It's the NHL, so I imagine it's closer to the latter than the former.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would go well for a team if you said that you weren't going, if you were their head coach.
Yeah, for the coach, you mean? Because think about how disposable they are already.
Yep. Goes from So I just kept me up all last night. I was just really like, man, how would a team even deal with that? I don't think they would be able to. Again, I don't think they're given the option. I honestly don't.
Yeah, and I think they all know. I mean, there's only 31 of them, so they all know to a man that like this is, and again, unless you're like a Joel Quenneville or somebody that like is kind of immovable at this point, and those guys aren't going to do it.
No,
but
plus
they all know that like how replaceable they are, how tenuous their jobs are. So
yeah, especially with just the round robin that it is.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you do, but then again, if you get let go, actually, I think if you get let go because of this, you'd probably have a black mark against your name as a head coach.
Yeah, Yeah, and that's it too. I mean, it's not only like what your team would do; it's what it means for your future in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you're going to get hired after getting fired from the Devils, just get hired by the Predators after no one else is interviewed.
Yeah, especially not by the winningest GM in
Yeah.
all of
Yeah,
professional
isn't
hockey.
that sad?
Dave Boyle,
Isn't
even though
that
he's
sad?
never actually won. It's fine.
Speaking of GMs and coaches, real quick, Devils, Lindy Ruff
Lindy Ruff.
and Fitzgerald.
I always liked Lindy Ruff. Not so much with his little stint in Dallas, but
He had one good year.
I thought he was like he kept a kind of a sinking ship in Buffalo afloat for a few years, which kind of hurt them in the long run. But um, yeah, I think a lot of people, mostly Devils fans, were critical of this move, and they wanted a Bruce Boudreau, I think, more so than anybody, or Gerard Gallant.
Well,
Uh,
there was no mention whether Bruce Boudreau was interviewed for it, but Gallant definitely was. And what's his name? The old Flyers and
Craig
Predators.
Berube? Craig
Sorry,
Berube.
no,
Craig
not
Berube.
Berube. Flyers, Rangers, Predators
Oh,
coach.
Laviolette.
Laviolette, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
Yeah. And
it's
apparently Laviolette wanted too much money, which to be honest, I get. That, I feel like if there is a team that is not getting fans to this building like for a long time and they're not getting any play-in revenue or anything like that, it's them.
yeah.
And Gallant wanted input on the roster. It just seemed weird because they were ready to hire Lindy Rupp. Like we heard this a while ago, but they didn't have a GM for a bit. So, but when you look at the GM market, there's not really just anyone out there. So I don't know if they're waiting for something to, like if they heard a rumbling that someone was going to get fired.
Yeah, and now Tom Fitzgerald obviously is part of this news break that like he's the official GM now, no more interim tag on him. Which, yeah, I mean, look, if you're a Devils fan, it's probably, I don't know. I think it's some cause for concern. Like they did okay during the trade deadline and everything,
I think
but
they did pretty. I actually thought it was okay, and then I went back and I looked at it, and I was like, okay, they did good-ish for
yeah,
what they got rid of. Like it was pretty well fine.
yeah. I mean, I hope that like you have someone like your player development part is very separate from your GM because I having Tom Fitzgerald here with the Penguins for a number of years and the things that he would say about former players, like I don't know if I would trust that guy to like lead your prospect analysis and your draft
He was
in October or whenever that happens.
He was literally hired by Ray Shiro and then just like immediately went with him to the Devils, and now he's this. Like there is
Yep.
no. I looked at his career. He was like an analyst on like some weird sports network, for like a month.
Yeah, and he was like player development here, and he like moved through different roles, which is good to get that kind of
Exposure.
diverse experience. But yeah, man, I don't know that it amounted to too much with the Penguins. And then like I guess we'll see. It's a really really crucial and important role for a team that's in the place that the Devils are in because they're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And like they can't miss. They can't miss any more first round picks.
This team is terrible, by the way. Like absolute garbage.
Not great.
I feel so sorry for Nick. Like, there's been a fair bit of rumbling, like, oh, let's get Jack Eichel out of Buffalo. Man, get Heisha out of this team because it's gonna. Or Jack Hughes, man, it's gonna be them two, just and only them two for ages. When you're like back end is Blackwood, you're just like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
No one's
it's a cool name for like a Devils goalie.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a whole lot going for him. I like Miles Wood, those guys, but like, yeah, could I even name anybody? PK Subban. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Do you
old
want to know
slow guy now?
Would you like to know some contracts that they have on their books, and then we'll move on. Next year they're playing Travis Zajac $5.7 million.
Oof.
PK Subban for the next 2 seasons $9 million. Good luck in this era getting rid of that.
Yeah, it would be a different story if it weren't a flat cap, but yikes.
Yeah, see that flat cap really hurt them because there's no way they're even moving any of this. Corey Schneider, do you remember Corey Schneider? He was good. Went to the notable AHL Binghamton Devils goalie.
Yeah, remember how good it looked for New Jersey at the time when everyone was like, "Oh, Bo Horvat, who cares?" Now Vancouver has one of the better second line centers. They've got a really nice punch up the middle. I think they did okay.
So the Devils got to pay Corey Schneider $6 million for the next 2 years. Guess who they have to pay $1.6 million next year due to an old buyout that I am shocked that it is still on the books. It's not Kovalchuk, by the way. They're paying him $250,000 till 2025.
Yeah, I was gonna say his is a whole different thing. Who are they? Who did they buy out? Who?
Mike Camilleri.
Oh my God. I forgot about Mike Camilleri's existence until this very moment.
I saw that and I was like, what?
Wow.
What the hell? That was pretty unreal. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know too much about their prospect pool, but by a quick look online, apparently it's not good. I mean, they got Ty Smith. That's the only really good thing.
Yeah, that's your boy, Ty Smith.
That's my boy. We all know that's my boy.
A lot of hope. Tied up in tie.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, he's definitely going there. Have you got anything you wanted to bring up, kind of while we're slinging time before?
No, let's move on. Do we have questions this week? Should we?
I do have a question.
Well, you get that all loaded up, and we can talk briefly. Maybe if you've looked at whatever random psycho shit Daniel's posted on our Twitter page. Let's just take some time right now to, as they say, hit it.
Hit it. Yeah, I'm still trying to find this thing, but definitely read out that thing.
Oh yeah, now I gotta find the thing.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm prepared? Come on.
I don't know.
You know me better than this.
We got a weird advertisement one that I'll definitely be reading out because I love them so much. I love people that are like, they clearly have never listened to anything that we've done ever, and they like send out something it just makes me giggle.
No, we have a couple questions actually.
Ooh. All right, hit it.
All right, so Sophie asked, we just put wood flooring to replace our carpet. What color rug should I get? And if you've never listened to the podcast before, this is fine. We just take any goddamn question you have.
Yeah.
Generally, even if we're going to be helpful or not, and we'll answer it.
I forgot the song says that we will answer any question too. Like it does say we are like the professional question answering thing, because I completely forgot about the song.
Look, we're two white guys. Like we will mansplain some shit. It's in our DNA to be ready to answer a question, even if you haven't asked us directly.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like as we're trying to be better. This is our outlet to do that, so we don't do that in the real world. So
you want us to solve racism? Two white guys are on the case.
We got it.
Feminism issues? Well, here's two white guys.
Do you want to know what two white guys have to say about abortion and reproductive rights? Hey, we're your guys.
How to stop the very complex medical issue of COVID running rampant from state to state. Here's two white guys' opinion on the matter.
Two white guys, which essentially you could kind of change. We could just change the episode or the entire podcast. Just call it Two White Guys. But I think that could go for like any podcast.
Yeah, that's what a podcast is. Like, you know how
it's
like
two
a
white
group
guys.
of crows is called a murder? Like, a group of white people is just called a podcast. I've said that so many times.
Yes.
It really is. What color rug?
Well, I mean, you left out the important detail of like what color flooring you have. Like that's all important. Is it cherry wood? Is it oak? Is it?
It's usually like a darker wood in Australia. Usually.
Okay. So if it's in Australia, then I would go with a red, a nice burgundy, a nice wine-colored rug. I think is what you want.
The rug is the only thing Kat and I have gone shopping for and immediately found something, and we did an and for 4 hours about it, / almost break up, yelling at it, screaming at each other at IKEA. Like it is the one. It's
That's
the
what
one
IKEA is
thing.
for.
I'll send a photo. I'll send a photo of our rug. It's like this multicolored thing that does not make sense, but we really like it. That's it. Like, it doesn't even matter if it doesn't go. Just find something that you like. Just don't get that weird, like, don't. I don't. Do you get this in? Do you get this in America, where like every rug store ever is having a closing down sale, and they've been closing down
everyone.
for 10 years? Oh, so
Yeah.
that's just not an Australian thing.
It's
There was
like
one.
worldwide rug business.
There was one that they had closing down ads when I moved here originally when I was 9, and I came back here when I was 29. So 20 years had passed, and the first radio ad that I heard on the radio was that same goddamn ad from 20 years ago. They are still closing down.
You won't believe these deals. You're never going to get these rugs again. We're going to take them out back and burn them after tonight if you don't get here now and claim these rugs. They're almost free, folks. You won't believe how low these closeout prices are going to be just for you. Come on down
so good.
to Rugs Are Us and please just buy a fucking rug. Yeah, every rug store I've ever seen has been going out of business for 30 years. It's fucking unreal.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I'm so glad that that's still because obviously, like, every now and then there's this culture thing between us, Australia and America, that we're just like, the other one just looks at the other one cockeyed, like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm so glad that, like,
we found the Venn diagram with the circle in the middle.
So you're opening a rug store. Here's your closing down sale sign. Just immediately, like, there's no opening now, so there's not like opening sales. Just immediately we're closing down. So dumb.
Grand opening and underneath closeout sale.
Yeah. Yeah. I recommend going to the. I don't know. Every like couple of suburbs, there's like this district that just has car yards and rug places, and there'll be like 3 of them. And just go in there, have a look around, find what you like. But I'll send you a picture of mine. That's my recommendation. Just don't get that weird Turkish rug that everyone has.
Yeah. I mean, diversify your rug game is yep, for sure.
Definitely. All right, here.
What's your question? Before we go to Daniel's lunacy.
To whom it may concern, my name is Travis Newton. Great. It's always good when they use their full name. Really makes
someone applying to the podcast because you're hired.
I'm currently in the market research phase of creating a state-of-the-art podcast studios here in Pittsburgh. I know that the, in brackets, It's a Hockey Night podcast is a very prominent sports podcast in the city. So I was hoping we could have a conversation on the phone to pick your brain about what should be in the studio. As a fellow podcaster and sports journalist, I want to make sure my studios have everything to make the thoughts and ideas flow freely. Let me know if there's a good time to speak.
In PR, we have, it's whether it's like Cision or Meltwater. There's so many services where you just like, you have blanket email and you can cultivate lists of like 200 to like 1,000 people, depending on how much you pay a month, and send these emails out where you put things in brackets and it just like changes it per different thing. And it's just, I always hate getting those marketing emails because we never use them because they're just the fucking worst.
They really are. Anytime that, like, I'm not going to say where I work, but whenever they do anything like that, you just like, this is the biggest waste of money. And there's like, a bunch of people that like make way more money than you that think it's a great idea. Just like, yeah, we're just going to do it and see what happens. But yeah, I can't stand, like, we've started, I don't know why, like every 3 or 4 days I get like either to be part of like some media group, which pretty much involves me giving them money and them doing fuck all by the sounds of it, or some advertising thing that just makes no sense. Like it'll be like I got one the other day for makeup, and I was just like, you clearly have not watched or listened to a single fucking thing. Like you'd probably go a lot. You'd have a lot more success if you just preyed on idiots like me. If you like listened a little bit.
Just for 1 second, and you
Yeah.
can figure
So
out what
would
you could
like
calm
in
me with.
Podcast studio. Because I really like how he's making a podcast. It sounds like the dumbest idea. So the reason why I brought it up, because I was like, yeah, do you know what amateur podcasts have? Tons of money. Tons of money to just throw at things.
Yeah, that's the whole reason. That's why people do podcasts, because they can't afford to do anything else.
Yeah.
They can't afford to go to a studio. Look, I can't even tell you how many mixed media studios there are in Pittsburgh. I can't count them anymore. But there are a billion places where there are like professional green screens and cameras and video rooms and like sound booths and like podcast rooms. Like I've considered like renting them out for the podcast, and then I realized like, oh wait, it's our podcast. Like that's
so
really dumb. It'd be so useless.
Yeah, exactly it. Like it would really be a massive waste of money. When like you would edit it and it would sound almost like it does now. Almost.
Yeah, it's real dumb. But I mean, hey, look, dear market, to whom it may concern, Mark or whatever the fuck your name is. Yeah, definitely do it. Invest all your money. Come back to us. Let's work something out when you come back, and then we'll meet somewhere 6 feet apart. Don't get fucking near me. Masks included, and we'll talk about our investment level as it's argument. But I want to see your extended portfolio first before I give you any of our illustrious wealth here at the It's a Hockey Night podcast. I'm not willing to spare that just yet. I need to see what you're bringing to the table.
You don't not get into podcasting to not be rich.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, look at Brenton's fucking awesome video game chair he's sitting in right now. Like,
actually, this is such an expensive chair. You have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a throne. The
second this work at home thing started, I was like, yeah, fuck it. The IKEA chair is gone. Like, I'm spending the money. It honestly, like, the best thing that I did for my work ethic with YouTube and actually like putting out consistent videos is I bought this chair and I bought Adobe Premiere, and those two things have been the best thing that I've ever done.
There you go, Mark, or whatever your name is. That's the kind of investment that you get here at the It's a Hockey Night podcast. Is sage advice.
Sage advice.
More. It's worth more than our money.
Go to zqracing.com.au. Type in promo code It's a Hockey Night. Watch that not work because they don't know who we are, and then pay full price for it. I got one more email. Dion asked, are you going to do any more travel website video podcasts anytime soon? So obviously when we do that top 10 lists sort of stuff.
Oh yes, our travel websites they were a big hit. I think it's about time. Like we need to step outside of our own confines. I think the people need to hear about these illustrious destinations they can go to when COVID is over.
So I just got to forward an SUV, Mike. So for the last 3 years, I'll put you in my life. We had a Suzuki Alto, which is the tiniest Suzuki that you could ever find. And because I sold my car when we moved over here, and originally we were going to get a place with 2 car bays, but everything fell through. We got a really nice place, but only had 1 car bay. And this car is 10 years old, but it's Kat's first ever car that she ever bought. So she's never going to get rid of it until it dies in a heap. So, and it can drive for about 15 minutes before shit starts getting real. It starts to shake. Like it has ricket. And like this car is sick. Like this car has the car version of scurvy. That's the only way to describe this car.
Not enough citrus. Okay.
So we got So we got a SUV, and we're heading to a few country towns. So if you like, every time I sort of head off, we're going off to Barrel in 2 weeks. So I think there's a good starting point. If you like, we can do next podcast. If you'd like, we can do the top 10 travel things in Barrel.
Where is Barrel for reference?
It's in between Canberra and Sydney. It's in the middle of nowhere. Well, first you go past Bungendore, and then you keep on, and then you go to Goulburn. You know that you know that you're right when you get to the big giant ram. You continue straight from the big giant ram, and then you're in Barrel.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the money shot.
I'm not joking about the big giant ram and Barrel. The one thing Australia loves is just.
I think we talked about this. Yeah.
The big banana, the big pineapple, like we just have a big thing. If you're a small country town, the only thing you have is either a big statue of something or the best meat pie that for some weird reason the best bakery that has ever existed is in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And I'm not
Unless you're in America, because we don't do meat pies.
Yeah, man, you're missing out.
Gross.
You are really missing out, because you'd have one and you'd be like, this just makes sense.
I don't know that I would say that.
That's our football. Like when we're at the sport, that's the thing you get is go get a meat pie. Like that's our version of a hot dog. Is a meat pie. It's all in.
Sounds bad.
Yeah. You got some more questions?
No, I think that's it.
I thought you said Thingo sent something weird.
Oh, Daniel sent a thing about Australia being. He found a good compromise theory on whether or not Australia is real. Just South New Wales is fictional, except for the sunken city of Canberra. Apparently, Canberra is underwater in this photo that you sent. Is that Atlantis? Who knows? Who can tell?
We're like up in the mountains. We literally are in a hole, but like it's just like when you fly into Canberra, you're like, this is a hole, because it's just mountains, and there's like this whole thing that's Canberra. Canberra definitely exists. I live here. I cannot stress it how much it doesn't exist.
I mean,
capital city. There you go. If you're doing a trivia night and they ask what's the capital of Australia, we've got like a Canada Ottawa situation. I find most Commonwealth countries actually. I mean, you wouldn't know not having a monarchy. No. Not being slaves to another country, that must be the worst.
Normally, I'd say, like, how's that working out for you? But a lot better than it's working here, so...
Yeah, he knew that hiring a reality TV star as the leader wasn't going to work out well.
Who could have thunk?
Yeah. I'm so surprised there isn't something on MTV that's like, that's my president.
Give it a couple of years.
Yeah. Actually, no, it sounds like an 80s sitcom where, like, that's my president is filmed in front of a live audience.
Live studio audience in Bangladesh.
But, yeah.
They have no idea what's happening, but they applaud for everything.
But they have no idea what's happening, but they enjoy the day out. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on, head on?
Not this week.
No. We actually had news. Like, I'm actually excited.
It's exciting. We'll probably get into our previews the next couple weeks, and then before you know it, literally, like 2.5 weeks, we will be talking about live hockey again.
No. Stop it.
I swear.
Stop it.
I mean, the way this year's going, probably not, because like there will be some weird fire stuff that wipes out specifically Toronto.
We're not there yet. Like everyone who is excited, I don't want to be the one that has that pin near your balloon, but like we got to get these people there.
Yeah.
Once that first game plays and everyone's negative, I think we're okay. Like I think there's a much less chance of something happening. Except, do you know how it all spread in Victoria again? So, like, Australia was almost at COVID-free.
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
Yeah, do you know? But the entire state of Victoria is now in lockdown, where I was born, and it was because if you flew back into the country from overseas, you had to Australia would put you up in a hotel for 2 weeks, and you just had to stay in that hotel. Your food would be provided. You'd have TV, but you couldn't really do too much. And it's just to make sure that nothing spread, because obviously, if you came from dirty overseas, you probably had. If you didn't have that disease, you had something else. But the reason why it spread is all the security guards kept hooking up with them, and then they'd go home to their happy
Sounds
wife.
like a great plan.
Yeah. So not great. So let's just hope something like that doesn't happen in the NHL.
And if it does, somebody at least gets it on video.
Oh, you know that would be. Oh, hold on. Hold the phone. If you've got 2 seconds. The Athletic just put an article. At least 3 Montreal Canadian players have tested positive for COVID-19 in recent days.
Oof. Okay, well, I mean...
3 confirmed, it could be more.
We're still on the timeline to where, like, that might not affect return to play on August 1st, because we're more than 2 weeks away from that, because essentially, like, all they would need to do is quarantine, but... Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
No.
They also, I mean, like, maybe this is in poor taste, but the Habs literally just tweeted 50 seconds ago, "Bring on Phase 3." So
let us spread the virus.
We're gonna just cool.
That's hot off the press. That one. That's a bit of a worry. That is a big worry. See, that's the stuff I just think is gonna. I think the worst thing that they did is they just fly in and then just start training. Like they should have just put everyone in a hotel and started the bubble about a week ago. If they could have.
It made more sense. But they're doing it this way. So
we'll see.
That's why we say we'll see. Like let's all keep our fingers crossed that can hockey players just not be dumb for like the next 3 weeks.
I do love how they're like, but we're not going to tell you who has COVID. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Like all injuries are going to be handled by the NHL, so it's just going to be like anyone that's out is just going to be like, yeah, it definitely has COVID. Like, oh, this guy didn't go on the plane to Phase 4. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, right. I mean, I fully support them not reporting that shit because they shouldn't. But we're gonna know.
That's the whole
let's
thing.
not play dumb about this. Like we're gonna know.
Alrighty.
So
well, anyway, that's your lot. I think that's everything. So I'm at Go Brent Yourself. You can write in the podcast at IAHN podcast at gmail.com or Hockey Night Pod at Hockey Night Pod on Twitter. You're at like Yinza _chick, right?
Chic.
Yinza _chickadee D.
That's right. Yinzer chicken. I should just change it to Yinzer chicken. But for now, I'm gonna leave it as chic. A word that Brett
the parking care outside, and Mike will find you.
Yep.
That's all you need to do. Otherwise, follow our YouTube channel. There's videos up pretty much daily now. I've pretty much been able to eke those out daily. So that's just it's a hockey night. Is that everything? Is that everything? I'm not missing anything.
I think that's it. Go look us up on YouTube. Brenton's doing the videos, and I guess the podcast will be up there. It's
tonight, yeah. So
I didn't even do my hair or anything, but whatever.
That's why I have a beanie on, because I got out of bed about 20 minutes before starting this. I'm not gonna lie. I was up till 12:30 watching F1s drive around a circle.
Sounds like a great time.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. All right.
All right.
So see you, everyone. Have a great day. Wear a mask. Don't get COVID. Bye.
Bye.